Alright, we're going to continue to look at the Vivaldi Concerto in G minor. We're going to go from measure 65 all the way to measure 113. So if you take a look at measure 65, this is another one of those solo sections. So this section is going to be a little bit more challenging, might need a little bit more attention. We'll start taking a look at it right now. So if you count starting at measure 65, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measures, those are all kind of one little unit. And you can see as you look through those measures, all of your B's are B natural, so you're going to temporarily move your first finger back up to the regular position. Remember, for most of this piece, you're kind of playing in half position with your hand pulled all the way back. For this particular passage, you keep your first finger in its regular spot for a B natural, at least on the A string. It's still low 1 on the E string. There is a little bit of a tough bowing pattern here. Down, up, down, up, down, up. You had a similar bowing pattern earlier in the piece. I think it's actually a little bit easier to do here than it was earlier because earlier there were a lot more string changes. So if we go really slowly through this, it'll sound like this. Then at the beginning of 68, you have an A flat. If you're playing the low 2 like you should be, you're just going to put your finger right next to it, your third finger right next to it. An A flat is the same as a G sharp. So you're just going to have your low 2 and then put your third finger right next to it. In this measure, remember, pull back the 1 because it's a low 1 on the E string still. 4. Let's do that again. We're going to put that all together, those 5 measures. Ready? Here we go. Now, low 3. Good. The next part should look really, really similar. This is measure 70. The only difference is you don't play that first C. You have 1/16th note rest. So it's rest. So it's C and then B natural, a regular first finger. Remember that trill means to go up to the next note that's written in the key signature, so 1 note higher than B is a C natural. It'll be a half step, those fingers really close together, and trill for 1 beat. Okay, and again, through that whole passage, it's a regular first finger on the A string. It is low 1 on the E, but you play a lot on the A string, and it's a regular first finger. Okay, so now we're taking a look at measure 75. And you see there's a little asterisk over this. On the bottom of your paper, it shows you how it's written versus how it's played. So that little grace note is actually just kind of like an 8th note. So you go da-da. We're actually at this point going to shift to 3rd position. After you play the C, the lower, the grace note, in 1st position, and then go to 3rd for the higher C. So go ahead and mark 3rd position there. You're going to stay there for a little while. Okay, so it's going to look and sound like this. I had a little slide in there, try to get the slide, try to not have the slide. And then it's just hanging out in 3rd position. Okay, then it's a similar thing. You do have to very quickly go back to 1st for the B flat grace note, and then go to 3rd again. So if you put those 2 things together from 75, it sounds like this. Okay, now there's a couple of spots coming up where I actually disagree a little bit with what's written in here. I think it's easier to do something different, and so we're going to change it. It's your choice if you want to do it in 3rd. but I think some of these spots are actually easier in first position. When you're playing at NYSSMA, they're looking to make sure you know how to do shifting, but if we mark in your music that you wanted to change a certain passage, often they will respect that and say, okay, I can see how they maybe wanted to do that, unless it's something that's so standard that everyone does it. But in this case, at measure 81, I think it's a lot easier to play this in first position. So go ahead and mark first position. The one kind of thing that stinks about this is they've put all the finger numbers for third position. So if it's going to throw you off, then go ahead and do it in third position. I just think it's a lot easier to do this in first. So we're starting with that A flat. Remember, that's where you take your third finger and back it right up next to the second finger. And there are some accidentals in here. If you look at the next measure, there's some A flats, which will be a low 4 on the D string. So I'm going to go through this really, really slowly. It's going to sound like this. Okay, let's do that again. Ready? Here we go. Again, this next part has a spot where it shifts to second position. I think that you can do this whole section in first and be fine. So I would suggest you just read these notes. Again, we'll change it on the copy that we send to the adjudicator for NYSSMA so they can see that we've changed it, but I just think this part is easier. If you take a look, so now starting at measure 80, with a pickup to 85, it's mostly eighth notes. There's some eighth rests in there, and then there's some trills. Right now I'm going to play it without the trills, and that's how I would recommend you start learning it, is to learn it without the trills first. So this is the pickup to 85. It's going to sound like this. By the way, we've been back in this half position hand frame, so pulling your hand all the way back. So it'll sound like this. Hopefully you caught, there are some accidentals in there again. In measure 86, that's an A flat, a low 1 on G. Then they correct it in the next, not correct it, but they bring it back to natural in the next measure, an A natural. Then you have a B flat in the next measure. These are the lower notes on the G string, and then a B natural. So your progression on the G string is low 1, regular 1, low 2, high 2. Okay, so that's what's happening. With those lower notes, the rest of them shouldn't be too bad. Now you have to add in the trills. You have to be really quick and sneaky and just slip in a trill right there and not let it slow you down. You have to keep going. Okay, so it's going to sound like this. Then the next part should be pretty straightforward in first position. Okay, so that next part again, there's some weird finger pattern stuff, but it's all first position. And then you just got to get those bowings and those trills. This time, by the way, for the trill, I know before it was a B natural, so they were close, B natural to a C natural. Now it's a B flat to a C natural, so there's going to be a whole second between those trills. Okay, so finally we've gotten to out of the solo section to the 2D section, so measure 96. So this part maybe should be a little bit on the easier side. This is the part that the whole orchestra would play together. You can see on the second beat, so you play E flat, B flat, and then a high E flat, and that says 2 over it. That's going to be in third position, so we're going to shift there. Go ahead and mark that in. It'll look and sound like this. E flat, B flat, E flat with 2 fingers. Can you stay up there? back to first. So in measure 98, you go back to first position on the B flat, the second beat there. And you're going to stay in first position for a little while. B flat, B natural, okay. C natural, C sharp, here's to third position. So in measure 111, mark that second finger as third position. So then right there in measure 113, the last note right before the next solo section, that's back to first position. And again, you're going to hang out in first position for a while on that next solo section, but we will look at that next time. So that's a lot of music. We just covered a lot of stuff. I kind of broke it down into different sections. You can even visually see as you look at it. There's sections that are similar, and you can kind of pick out the chunks to work on. I would spend time working on each little section before you try to run the whole thing. But what I'm going to do right now to show you what it all sounds like, I'm going to play from measure 65. I'm going to do it slowly once, and then I'm going to do it at like a medium speed once. Okay? So here I go from 65 all the way to 113. So 1 E and a, 2 E and a. Rest. That's all the way through that at a slower tempo. I did miss one shift. I played something in first position that we worked on in third, around 78, 79-ish. So if you caught that, don't follow what I just did that time. All right, I'm going to go a little faster. By the way, you might have seen when we got around 75, it felt so slow. That's because I was going slow to get those 16th notes. I'm going to do the 16th notes a little faster, so it's going to make the half notes speed up a little bit. Okay. We're going to go about 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a da, 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 da. Okay. 1, 2, 1 E and a 2 E and a. Rest. Alright, so that's an idea of what it should sound like a little bit faster. Again, you really have to get those 16th notes down before you can go that fast. So keep working through those parts slowly. I think we should be able to get through this in 2 more videos, and then we would have covered everything, and then we'll meet to go over it in person.